Before we get to today's episode, I want to tell you about Scout Media Group. Scout Media was designed and built to get listing leads. We apply the same metrics we use for radio to Facebook ads. We target a very specific demographic: age, gender, income, and homeownership. And as a full-service agency, we offer everything from first-class creative and production that actually drives results. It's critical that you have both a mobile and digital strategy. And frankly, most people are just blowing it when it comes to marketing and getting in front of the right kind of prospects. For as little as $5 a day, you can have a marketing channel that's always running in the background. If you're interested, send me an email and we'll see if you're a good fit. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Hey everybody, what's up? How's it going, man? How's your day? How's your week? Hopefully it's shaping up. Hopefully you guys are out there crushing it. And if you're new to the show, welcome. Glad you found it. We've been doing it a while. And luckily and thankfully and with gratitude, man, we kill it on iTunes, right? We are competing against hundreds of thousands of other podcasts, but somehow this little show just keeps on trucking, man. I looked at our stats the other day and we're like number 62 in the world. So anyhow, very fun. Again, I gotta tell you, I'm grateful. Now today's episode. Well, hold on. Let me tell you, I'm excited. It's summertime. The kids are out of school, and I'm excited for a couple things. I'm excited. Number one, we're doing our family road trip. We were going to trip it out to Colorado. I just ran the numbers. It was just too far, man. And we, like last year we did Wyoming, but we flew into Salt Lake and then drove. So Colorado, I think we need to fly into Denver and rent a Vinny man and cruise it. So we're just going to go up the coast, right? So from here to San Diego, we'll probably make it to Coos Bay, Oregon, and then do the old turnaround. So that's one thing I'm excited about. The second thing I'm excited about, if we're not friends on Facebook, Facebook me, man. I don't know why we're not. And we're doing a little motorized drift track build. And if you haven't seen that, I mean, this is like the new craze, man. Just Google motorized drift trike. And here's how I did it. I bought a brand new fat tire bike and took a cutter to it. Took a torch, cut it all out, basically for the headset and the forks and the wheel. And I welded up everything else. So we're almost done with that. That's cool. And my latest purchase that I'm crazy pumped about, I haven't got it. You guys should know, I'm a car guy, right? I'm a Porsche guy. I love Porsches. But I also love motorcycles. So I just won this thing on eBay. And you can check it out. It's a cafe racer. It's gorgeous. And if you don't know, like the whole cafe racer scene, that is definitely getting big. So if you want to know what it is, Google motor hanger, motohanger.com. Well, hold on. How do you do this? I think you just do moto. The bike I'm buying is actually kind of famous. If you Google Moto Hanger CB 750, the bike will come up. The image will come up, and it'll know it's it because it's a black and white tank, and it says 76 on the side. So I'd love to get your guys' comments. I'm pumped on the thing. I mean, I think it's a piece of art on wheels. Okay, hey, let's get to today's episode. All right, we talk. I had fun with this guy, and he's been on before, but we talk about everything from managing your mindset to finding a mentor. And this guy's doing about 300 deals right now. And we talk about specifically what strategies he's using right now in the summer of 2016 that is working for him. And the cool thing about it is many of these strategies and tactics that he's using are low cost to no cost. It just takes hustle. So, and that's what I think that's the thing that a lot of people are missing, the hustle piece of it. That's it. Hey, if you haven't yet, go to the site, superagentslive.com, download my free ebook, get on my mailing list. I send stuff to my list. I don't send anywhere else. And you can follow the show from there. Join the conversation on Twitter, at superagentslive, and hashtag is unpack that idea. All right. Hey, let's get it. Today on the show, we almost never have repeat guests on. Seriously, like even Tom Ferry, right? We've brought Tom on twice. That's it. But today's guest, last time we had him on, he's a good guy. I've met him in person. But last time we had him on, I got a lot of emails and Twitter stuff about this guy. So we decided to have him back on. And before we get to who he is and what he's doing, let's give you some numbers. So last year, he did about 240 deals for $81 million. Although, right, unlike a lot of people that come on here with 10, 12, 20 people, this guy's, it's him and two other people. That's it. Guy's killing himself. This year, he wanted to grow. He's looking for 20, 25% growth every year. His goals were 300 deals and 110 million. It looks like he's going to reach the 100 million, but that was his main goal. So I'm thrilled to welcome Josh Anderson. Josh, what's up, man?
How's it going? Thanks for having me again.
Of course.
Good stuff.
So listen, we were chatting a little bit before the recording, and today being a Monday has not been a great day. You had a deal blow up. That's par for the course. But, look, when I think of your – wait, hold on. Tell people who you are. Then we'll get into what you're doing. I just jumped right into it.
Yeah. So Josh Anderson, we have – the Anderson Group Real Estate Services in Nashville, Tennessee. So our goal this year, like you said, our goal is 300 transactions and 110 million. We've added a couple people to the team since last year, and we've had some change administratively, and so change is always good. It's been a little bit harder to do some of our transactions this year, but we'll hit 100 plus million. I don't know that we'll hit the 110, but we'll hit right at that 102 million.
Dude,
right now.
As long as you hit 100 million. But so how long have you been doing this, Josh? Because, it's amazing. Yeah. Some people come on the show and, they'll get to your level in terms of deals really rapidly, like 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And other people are, they've been swinging for the last decade and they're like, I just got to 100 deals. Well, how long have you been doing it?
Yeah. So I got in the business in April of 2006. Right at the top before it, went straight downward. So, but the good thing is I didn't know any better. It was, I just plugged away. And the first 5 years I was in the business, I didn't have a team or anything. So, I've really been doing the team for 5 years, and then I was in the business as an individual agent for 5 years. So a total of 10.
Okay. All right. And, it's funny. If I go back to 2006, what we saw in 2006 was, at least for me, right? I've been around for a while, but, you go down to the grocery store, and again, 2006, the market was murder hot, like everywhere, right? I mean, here in San Diego, everybody's houses were like appreciating like 30 grand a month, right? And everybody felt like they were rich because they're like, oh, my house is worth 30 grand more than last month, and so on and so forth. And what I saw was, the person bagging your groceries is getting into real estate, right? The guy who details your cars getting into real estate. And I feel like we're seeing that same thing.
Oh yeah. We've gotten, I don't know the exact number, so don't quote me on it, but I mean, we've got, in the last year, 15 months, maybe 18 months, we've had another 1,000 to 1,200 realtors join the boards in Middle Tennessee. And so I'm doing 2 deals right now. I was telling somebody this morning, 2 deals right now in transaction-wise that it's their first deal and they've never done a deal before. And, everybody has to start somewhere, but, there's a lot of these brokerages that don't show somebody. They don't sit down and go, here's how you do a contract, or here's the proper way, or they're just kind of doing it. And someone like me who does it multiple times a day or several times a week, it's one of those situations where it's easier for me to just do it for them. They're just getting paid 30%.
Right.
It's like good for them, but probably 75% of those people are going to fall out in the next year to 18 months when the market changes again.
At least, yeah. Well, and again, so that's what I was kind of getting at. I mean, do you think that if we just look at the market and look what's happening, I mean, do you think we're in for a big correction, like in the really short term?
It's interesting. I think that we have to be in some capacity. I mean, I look at it and go, at least in Nashville, the market can't continue on the same trajectory, price per square foot. But there really, the pro is that there really are that many people moving to Nashville. But at some point, interest rates, it won't be before the election. At some point, the interest rates have to go up. At some point, they're not going to, I don't know that the values go down, but they've got to level off at the very least.
Right.
And so between that, I go, yeah, something has to happen.
It has to.
Doing this because we're headed, I'm seeing some loans that are starting to get, they're not the ninja loans and that kind of stuff, but they're things that they're being really freely giving money, it seems like, again, and that's never a good thing when people that shouldn't be buying are buying. Yeah,
right. And in terms of it just not being able to grow, I mean, I looked at, I still own the first house that I bought, and this house is, again, I'm in San Diego, but I bought it in 2001. I think 2001. I paid I got a good deal. I paid like $250,000 for it, 1,200 square feet, right? Built in 1940s. It was a total fixer when I got it. And from 2001 to 2006, that house was worth $500,000, right? And I just looked at my neighborhood. I'm like, if I run the numbers, in another 4 years, that house is going to be worth almost $1 million. I'm like, there's no freaking way people are going to pay $1 million unless our money is like Turkey, where, it takes $400 to buy a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So look, at the beginning of this, you said that you were looking for 20 to 25% growth every year. And those are awesome numbers, right? I mean, I think those numbers are more suited to almost a tech company, right? If Apple can get overall 20% growth every year, they're doing well. It's that much harder, I think, for somebody like you, a service-based business, to grow 20, 25% a year. What are you doing that's driving that growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it, a lot of our business is referral-based. So, 73% of our business last year was some type of either past client or referral. So for that piece of it, we continue giving good customer service, and we continue doing the things that we're doing that have gotten us this far. But I think a big piece of it is, to continue growing, you either have to get into relationship with more people, either on your team, in your organization, or you have to change price points. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of things that you can do to continue to grow outside of hiring the right people or hiring more people, more good people, or increasing your average price point. So 2 years ago, I was very purposeful about changing our average price point from, in 2014, I think that it was like $250, and we went to like $380 last year. And a lot of that had to do with who I started working with and some of the builders we started working with, and just got really intentional and purposeful about that. So,
well, can you unpack that a little bit? Because I'll tell you, when people go hire a coach, that's one of the first things, right? That's the easiest way to get growth, right? If you're selling $200,000 houses, sell $400,000 houses, or like in San Diego, right? If you're selling average of $500,000 houses, move up to $1 million. The deal is, Josh, I think a lot of people, when they start selling or trying to sell houses and working with the demographic of people that are maybe more wealthy or more educated than they are, like, it stuns people, right? They're like, I don't know how to do that. They're not my people. How did you, number one, move your price point up, and number two, deal with a different class of client, if that's a good way to say it or not? But.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I did was I really got I started looking at our average price point, and I knew we weren't going to be able to continue growing without either changing that price point or adding people to the team. And I really didn't want to necessarily just add people to the team and kind of dilute the value of the reason the agents stay with me for so long is typically because we we have lots of really good leads, and they make more money in my business than they do than they would in most other teams. So, but to answer your question, as far as that piece of I guess looking at how I really increased my average price point, I guess that really came down to looking at the builders and developers, and I was finding them deals like either teardowns or rehabs that they could buy. So I represented them on one transaction on the front end and then one or two transactions on the back end when they either built new construction. So there'd be a gap. There was a gap when I was finding things in 2014. A lot of that stuff didn't hit till 2015. But I might find them a $400,000 house that they could put two $800,000 houses on because of the zoning.
Right.
So, it was one of those things that I started looking at that, and that's what really changed our average price point quite a bit.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about, 73%, which is a phenomenal number. 73% of your business comes from referrals. And so I want to talk about what you're doing in that customer service sort of realm. But I want to talk a little bit about something you just mentioned, right? If and when you built a team out and took it from 3 to 13, not only I think are you going to dilute your company culture, right? Which then these people don't stay with you for as long or whatever. You start to have turn, but you're going to dilute that customer service. What do you think for you, Josh, is more important as you grow your business? Is it that team culture and getting really a strong foundation there, or do you think it would be customer service?
That's kind of difficult because they're both extremely. I mean, I guess I'd say the culture piece, and mainly because I think with the right culture, the customer service and everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can have great customer service and terrible culture, I guess.
Yep.
From the inside. But I think if you have the right culture and everybody shows up to work hard and play hard and, get more clients at the end of the day and not just more clients, but more like-minded clients. And that's probably our big thing is we don't work in any one particular area. We service several areas in Middle Tennessee. So when you look at Nashville and break it down, we work some of the suburbs and we work all of Nashville proper. And certain areas we like working more, and some areas we gravitate, and some areas we just happen to work more because of our clientele. But really, it's based on all of our business is based on the referral piece of it. So we kind of go all over because you might have a friend that lives in Franklin rather than in Nashville proper.
Yeah.
So so we kind of go all over, but at the same time, we really that's what it's about is just constantly asking people, hey, we had a great transaction with you. What do you know anybody that we might be able to help in the next 90 days, or is there anybody that you think that we should know? Or it's calling them after closing and saying, hey, we really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. We know you have a lot of choices when hiring a realtor or a real estate team or a real estate company. Or, it's calling them after and saying, hey, it's been 90 days. We really just want to check in and see if you need anything from us, or we want to continue to be a resource after closing,
right?
Until you're ready to sell again. Do you need any vendors? Do you need any handymen, contractors? Like, tell us, how can we continue to add value to the relationship?
I love that, man. And I love the fact, and I think to everybody listening, I would love for you guys to take that to heart, right? The culture, if you are a culture first company or business or however you want to say that, everything else will 100% fall into place because you have people that care, right?
Sure.
And a great book on this, I'm sure you've read it, Josh, but have you read Tony Hsieh's Delivering Happiness, The Story of Zappos?
Yeah.
Great book.
Mm-hmm. Good book. Good book.
So, what are some of the things, right? You want to continue to add value after the closing, right? You call them 30, 60, 90 days and say, hey, look, what else can I, do you need a pool guy, a roofer, an AC guy, whatever? What other things do you do to continue to deliver happiness, value, 12 months after the fact? And how often do you, and how long do those phone calls last? 1 year, 5 years?
Oh, forever. But I mean, some of the phone calls are as short as 10-second phone calls. I mean, we try to have 4 or 5 scripts throughout the year because I think if you call your past clients, or whether you're friends or just past clients, I think you call them and say, hey, this is Josh. I'm wondering if you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. They're going to quit answering your phone call. I can promise you.
Yep.
Like they just are. So we came up with 4 or 5 different, set of scripts to just, one of them is as simple as we really don't ask for a referral. We just call them and say, we just say, hey, John, I was just calling to touch base. I wanted to thank you. We really appreciate, you being a client of ours. If you ever need anything, let us know. Have a great day. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's as simple as, hey, we're still here for you. We don't even need to ask you for a referral. And then the next one might say, hey, look, and there's things that I think there's a lot of ways you can ask for referrals without asking directly for a referral. And sometimes you just have to ask directly for a referral and say, hey, man, we're really trying to finish the year strong. Do you know anybody that we can reach out to that might be, buying over the next 60 or 90 days? No, you don't know anybody. Well, would you, if you hear of anybody that, even if they're looking at rentals, will you keep us in mind and pick up the phone and call me and let me know, and I'll reach out to them. Great. Appreciate it. There's things, we do 4 or 5 happy hours or client events a year. And we always call them, if we're narrowing it down between a client event, like maybe we've picked out 2 things and we're trying to figure out what we think would be more appealing to our clients. We call them and say, hey, we really value your opinion. We've thought about this and this as far as a client event. Which one would you be more inclined to go to?
Interesting.
And what happens there is you're picking them up. You're picking up the phone and calling them, checking in, seeing how everything's going. You're asking for their opinion. Everybody likes to give their opinion.
Yeah.
They love to give their opinion. They want to be able to give, and then it automatically sets up, well, how's business? And obviously, if you're calling them about a client event, they know you value their opinion and you're doing good business and you're busy. And so it hits all the right pieces without actually having to say, hey, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I love that. That for me, Josh, that's the way I do it, and that's the way I've always done it. And I've had Michael Mayer on the show. I'm sure you know who Michael is.
Sure.
And Michael, he's all about just banging people over the head, right? Ask them. I'm like, dude, that gets tiresome after a while. And I think again, I'm talking to you, Josh, but I'm also talking to the audience. I think that the way that you operate is much more in line with, maybe Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah.
Just value, and then go for the ask. Hey, let me ask you this, Josh. On those happy hours or whatever, how fancy, this is a question of do you do it at a Red Robin? I don't know if you guys have Red Robins out there, or do you do it at at a steakhouse, right? How fancy should people get, and does that matter?
I think it depends on what you're trying to do. So we do 4 to 6 client events a year. 2 of them at least are just happy hours, and we know that typically those probably aren't going to be families. Maybe it'll be the husband or the wife. If it's, but those are really just kind of open, bring a friend, it's really our past clients, but networking, for example. And then this year was our 10-year anniversary. So in April 30th, we did our 10-year anniversary, did it in downtown Nashville, rented a rooftop of a building, catered food, had drinks, we paid for parking in downtown Nashville. We went all out. We spent a lot. And we got some of our vendors to help us and do things, but it was one of those deals where that was it was the first time in 10 years we did kind of blew it out and did a big event. And that was fun. We had a band and everything.
Oh wow.
So that was fun. We try to do one event a year that is for families. So we'll do in October or November, we'll do the pumpkin patch. We rent a pavilion at the pumpkin patch and really have food and really cater to families. Let their kids, they get to bring home a pumpkin and things like that. We did one just for referrals, referral clients. Or not referral clients, but our referral sources, our top.
Right.
I think we did our top 25 referral sources, and we did it at a Nashville Sounds game, which is our AAA baseball team. Really kind of dug in and got the best seats in the house, behind home plate, the suite area, did unlimited everything. And, it's just kind of shaking hands and touching base with those people and saying, hey, we really appreciate you keeping us top of mind. How can we be a resource for you? How can we add value back to you?
Right.
We want to show you we appreciate, but we also want to, what can we do for you? Who can we connect you with? Who can we, those type of things.
And, I think, Josh, I mean, I think you typify, some of the way that you've explained how you run your business and whether it's culture or adding value, I think you typify that person that operates with an abundance mindset. And I think too many people are rolling from scarcity, and they're like, and everybody, like, real estate agents are terrible in the regard that they feel like every single thing they do should get them an ROI, right? What's going to be my return off this? And I think that, if you are that short-term thinking, you're only going to get so far.
Right.
So,
and some things are immediate, and some things are, you never know when it's going to pop. I mean, you might add value, and 3 years later it's like, hey man, I've been thinking about you for a long time, and here's this huge monster account, and I just have been working on it for you kind of behind the scenes.
Right.
Or maybe it does, maybe it's a one-off deal. And sometimes it's nothing. I mean, one of the things we do for clients is when they have, we constantly are kind of looking and monitoring Facebook. And so we're telling people happy birthdays. And how often do people get a birthday card these days?
Right.
Besides from your mom or your grandmother, right?
Right.
So, do those kind of things. We also do, when people have, babies, we send them a hot meal to their house. We already, I know that was the best thing that was sent to me and my wife when we came home from the hospital. It was like all the crap I had to load into the car, the flowers, all the other crap. And then, it was like somebody sent me a hot meal that got delivered to the house. I was like, this is like genius. And so we do little things like that. And it's like, it doesn't fix it, but it's one less thing you have to think about when you're bringing home a new baby and you're already like overwhelmed with. So we're just trying to be purposeful, intentional, and constantly thinking about different things. I love it. And so look, that made me think of something. And I've been, obviously who Gary Vaynerchuk is, and I'm a big Gary V fan. And I've been listening to his latest book, and I think it's just Ask Gary V. And one thing he talks, the biggest thing I took away from that book is Gary explains how everything is sort of mass, right? So mass email, mass marketing, all that stuff. And I'm a big proponent of that. I mean, we do radio, right? That's what we do radio. But here's what Gary said. He said, when it comes to him selling his books, he's like, I've sold more books from one-on-one marketing, meaning I send you, hey, Josh, a personal email rather than putting you on a mass email list. And that really got me thinking about some of the things. I mean, I have this whole group of people that are interested in radio, interested in our podcast production stuff, interested in our digital stuff, and I end up just sending out mass emails, and I need to do it one-to-one marketing. And it kind of sounds to me like you do that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things is, there's certain things you can automate and certain things you can put everybody on. Like, I've never been comfortable putting people on drip campaigns, and I just think they're so canned unless they're professionally written. I think they're so canned that people know that they're kind of obvious, and people don't want to read a two paragraph email. They just don't. I mean, I don't anyway. I want it to be like the length of a tweet. I'm busy. Like, that's
right. So,
and that's fine. I mean, you can put people on certain drip campaigns and things here and there, and there's nothing wrong with the radio. I mean, I do radio. Yep. You're hitting a lot of people, but I think you hit a lot of people, and then you individually talk to those people to kind of parlay onto they're hearing your name, and then you're having one-on-one conversations to cement that relationship and make it stronger.
Yeah, man. Dude, it's on my list. It's on my Monday morning. I sat down. I'm like, I'll do some of this. I'm going to do it. So, look, I mean, you're a millennial, right? You're in your 30s, right, Josh?
Yep.
Okay. Well, how old are you? Are you early 30s or late 30s?
37.
37. Okay. Just past the middle.
Yeah.
What, you're doing radio, you're doing all this, customer service stuff and really taking care of your clients and adding value. What's something you're doing online that seems to be working for you?
I think I always struggle a little bit with online because I want to do more online, but I don't. The majority of our business just doesn't come from online. So I'd say the things that we do online, I'd say the biggest thing is probably the social media and just staying in touch with people. I mean, we do some Facebook ads here and there, but it's really kind of monitoring who our clients are on Instagram and Facebook and just kind of seeing what they're doing and commenting on it and kind of just being part of the relationship online, but really taking it offline. And
right.
Hey man, that's awesome. Let's grab coffee. So it's not trying to automate it or replace lead generation or networking or relationships with the online piece. It's making it stronger from the online and being able to take it offline.
Yeah, and that's the whole goal. I mean, I think a lot of people miss that. The whole goal of online or social is, number one, be social, but number two, take it from online to offline. That's where it gets strong. Very few people are going to actually sell their house on Facebook, right? You gotta take it offline. Right. That's interesting to me that somebody like you would struggle with online stuff. You're a busy guy, right? I mean, last year you're listing a house every 3 days of your own, right? And you're managing it. Do you personally handle your social media stuff, or do you outsource it? And maybe you don't want to answer that.
Some of each. I mean, some of it is automated. Some of it are blogs that are written by our marketing person. And some of it's done. A lot of it is done me actually commenting on things. All the commenting and that stuff, that's me. But the additional, like the branding of our blogs and our websites and so it's not a struggle of doing it. It's a struggle of I haven't outside of just being present and doing the comments and things like that. I haven't figured out a way where we haven't converted tons of leads online that were ever as good. There might have been better quantity-wise, but there was never the quality, and it never will be the quality. But for what everybody seems to try to spend so much money on the different websites, whether it's the Boomtowns or the Tiger Leads or and those are all great services. I mean, they're awesome. But for what they've cost, we've started saying, what if we put that money back into the people that already send us business and the people that already know us, like us, and trust us? What if we did that? How much more powerful would our business be to do that and do more happy hours than to just continue spending money and not be able to track those dollars as well sometimes? Right. Yeah, no. And to some of our businesses, I mean, we get business off the internet. We get business off the radio. But I'm just saying that the quality and quantity is different than it ever will be from our personal sphere and past clients that have already worked with us and know what the process is going to be and what the systems are and that kind of thing.
Right. And the other thing too, I'll tell you, as I get older, it's very much for me is I pick and choose my clients. I fire clients all the time. I want to work with people that I like, that I get along with. And I think, going back, just saying exactly the same thing you're saying, if you can find not only people to work with that you like, but then to find clients that you like, I mean, how awesome would the world be? You wake up and you love everything you're doing.
Well, that's kind of what we do. I mean, that's what we look at our team and we go, we want to, not necessarily constantly top grade, but we're constantly looking for people, is it time for a change? Are there better people out there that are better suited for where our business is today? And so, it's constantly looking for talent. I mean, it's like right now I'm looking for a director of sales, and that's I think it's easy to find a director of sales, but it's not easy to find a director of sales that knows real estate and gets all of the other stuff. But it's just people. I mean, we're in the people business, whether it's people we're attracting to our team or our organization or people that we want to work with from a client perspective. Yep. It's all just people.
Well, and everybody, you heard it right here, right? So Josh at Knoxville is looking for a director of sales. So
Nashville.
Nashville. Sorry, buddy. Nashville. Hey, so could this person, I'm trying to find somebody for you here. Could this person be virtual? I mean, could they be in Los Angeles, or do they need to be in Nashville?
They probably need to be willing to relocate if they were out of town. But yeah, I mean, but there are things that, somebody that's a marketing person could, I think for most businesses in real estate could be virtual, for example. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of what we do is blogging and websites and social media. And I mean, you don't have to be present to be a marketing person, for example. I think for the sales director or a director of sales position, sales manager, I think you have to be available in that general area. But yeah, I mean,
okay.
we have people that have worked from home, and I just don't know that sales manager position could do that.
Yeah, and I don't know the role. I was just asking because again, guys,
sure,
don't send me an email. If you want to talk to Josh, we'll get Josh's stuff afterwards. Send Josh an email. Don't get me in the middle of it. All right. Look, let me ask you this, Josh, because this is something I struggle with, and it is email overload. And that's why I just told people not to send me. I get lots of emails, man.
I'm terrible at it.
So how do you, but you're right. So here's, I've tracked this. I get an email and whether it's from a client, a prospect, a listener, whatever, and I try to respond. And again, tweet bite, sized responses. But what I found is, especially with my clients, or prospects, one email to me, and then I respond, like, it generates like 3 emails total, and
sure,
whether I have to read them or respond, and I've been trying not to respond to stuff, like, unless I really have to. I just let it go. It's not, because most of it's not that big of a deal. How do you, I mean, you're a busy guy. How do you manage, well, let's talk about email, then we'll get into how you manage your time. But how do you manage, your emails when you're dealing with 100 different people over the years selling their house?
Yeah, I when I got in the business, I thought, I'll just send tons of emails and blah, blah, blah. And now, email is probably my last mode of, not probably, it is my last mode of communication as far as my preference. I mean, I'm on the phone so much that I like it's easier and quicker for me to just pick up the phone and or text message. I mean, it's easy. It's usually a yes, no, or yeah, I can get that done by the end of the day. Emails, I mean, I get so many emails, and a lot of them I kind of don't know what to do with some of them. I'm like, I kind of need that, and I need to figure out what to do with it, but I don't want to delete it. And,
right. Yeah.
So, should I have more folders that they automatically go in, and then I can just check them at certain points? But it doesn't really matter. I mean, like, I'm not going to zero out my inbox. Like, I don't even understand those people that
Me neither.
Zero out their inbox. I mean, people look at my home screen and they're like, oh my God, you have 1,436 unread emails. I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. I know which ones make me money and which ones I need to get back to. And other ones, like, if they're important for the other person, they need to pick up the phone and call me.
Okay.
To be honest. I mean, but that, and I know that's not the answer, but it's very difficult. I don't have an answer because I've struggled with email because I get probably 250 or 300 emails a day.
Yep.
And I've unsubscribed. I've done Unroll Me, and I've unsubscribed from everything I can possibly unsubscribe from, and I still get just tons of stuff. Even having transaction coordinators, a certain amount of agents and people still send me stuff, even though I'm not the one that's doing the paperwork, or
right.
And a certain amount of that's just going to happen.
So, did you unsubscribe from my list?
No, I don't know. I guess I could probably. I guess there's probably a possibility that I did.
Okay.
I unsubscribed from a lot of Unroll Me.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't send that.
I actually unsubscribed. Good enough. I unsubscribed from my own newsletter.
There you go. There you go. All right. Okay. So then let's get into. We kind of know how you manage your email a little bit, and you don't love it. What is? How do you manage your time? What does a normal day in the life of Josh Anderson look like?
Yeah, so that's probably where I excel. I'm very structured as far as my calendar and my schedule goes. So I wake up at 4:42 every day, totally random. I think I told you that last time we were on the show. Totally random, but it's one of those things. I get up early. I get to the office. I'm able to knock a certain amount of stuff out before I get my day started. And I have an 8 o'clock call with the buyer team. 8:15, I usually have a call with operations or the admin team, and then from there I go in at 8:30. I go into my phone calls till noon and make those calls.
Wait. What does that mean? Your phone calls till noon? You're calling your
my
database?
Lead generation.
Okay.
Lead generation. So we have 2 inside salespeople that call really a lot of the internet leads and sign calls. I log into my top producer and I call past clients, referral sources, agent referrals, seller leads, anything that is in my top producer that tells me to call that day. I have an ongoing list I call, and then of just people that that I thought about or that I need to call. And then I've got my top producer that I just log in and it tells me who to call based on my previous conversations with them.
And okay, when you have a conversation, right? So you and I call you, we talk about selling my house, whatever. How do you? This is almost like, this question's almost like sending email, right? How much is too much when you're trying to do some customer development? How do you determine when to put me in your top producer to call me again? Do you say, hey, Toby, I'm going to follow up with you next week, next month? How, or do you just pick a random time? Like, oh, dude, I'll just call.
Yeah, it depends. It totally depends on the conversation I had or the conversation. I mean, it has to do with a couple of things. So we close on your property and you're automatically going to get called 2 to 4 times a year. And that's just my default. But, depending on if you're a referral source, you might get other calls get added in there. I mean, it's very systematic, but at the same time, it's one of those situations where it might be based on the last conversation. You might have said, hey, I'm not selling my house for a year. And I'm probably going to check in 4 months. I'm going to say, hey, Toby, how's it going? Just wanted to check in with you. I know you told me you weren't going to sell your house for probably a year, but I wanted to call and just see how everything's going, see if you're still on that timeline, see if I can be a resource for you. Well, and then we just kind of have a conversation from there. Is there anything you need from me? In the meantime, can I be a resource? Can I send you any vendors or contractors to get your house ready? Blah, 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 blah.
So do you, I know you're all about adding value, Nick. Do you, we have a conversation, we meet at the grocery store, whatever. And I tell you, hey man, I'm going to sell, my kid is graduating from high school and I'm going to sell next summer, whatever. And again, you're going to automatically call me, 4 to 6 times per year. Do you try to, with those calls, I'm trying to figure out what that script looks like, right? And here's what I'm thinking, right? So for me, if I were going to do that, I'd be looking at the stats and go, oh, hey, last quarter sales were down 3% and prices were up 6 or 10, whatever it is. I mean, and that's how I would call you. I'd go, hey, Nick, what's up, man? I know we talked, and you're going to sell your house next year. Let me just give you some quick stats of what's going on in your neighborhood. And it may, maybe that will change your timeline. Do you, is that? Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
that was way too long of a conversation.
Yeah. No, I mean, it really depends on. Again, it kind of depends on who it is. Are they a past client that's selling again, or is it just a seller lead? So it's really just kind of checking in with them. I mean, I don't have a absolute rhyme or reason. I mean, sometimes I say, okay, they're going to sell in a year, and I'm going to call. I usually cut everything in half from what somebody tells me, and sometimes even less based on. Them saying, well, I mean, if we found the right house or, so I call them, I've got a guy right now, he's like, well, we're probably not going to sell for a year and a half. Well, we found him the right house and all of a sudden we wrote an offer. So there's things like that. And so I just kind of stayed on him and I told the team, I said, I think if we found him X, Y, and Z and he's only in this little small geographic area that he wants to be, if we found him something coming soon or it hit the market and he was able to go look at it, then I think he'd write an offer and then put his house on the market.
Okay.
2 transactions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And so I don't know if that answers it.
No, you did.
That answers the question. But they'll call me and go, hey, Josh, I just saw a property that hit the market. Do we need to put my house on the market before getting, the house, putting an offer on the house? And I go, yeah, sure. So it's just one of those, it's different every time, but it's always trying to add value and just kind of checking in with people. And
Okay.
everybody goes, "Ooh, your timing is, amazing." And I go, "Well, it's not really. I just call you until you either buy or die."
Okay. Wait. So let me. Sometimes I get excited and I start to go down a path, so let me go back. In terms of your day, you excel, right? You excel at your time management. Do you? So you're up at 4:42, which is super weird, but you're up at 4:42. What time do you quit? And here's what I'm really trying to get at, Josh. What I'm trying to get at is, do you have really, because I do. I have very hard and fast rules. And so that's the only way I keep my life together is I go, dude, I'm up at this time. I'm done at this time.
Yeah.
And after this time, I don't take client calls. So do you have rules for?
Absolutely.
Okay. Tell us what those look like.
Yeah. So, I mean, there might be days I go home at 4:00 and then, I might do a little bit of work after I put the kids to sleep or something along those lines. But I mean, generally speaking, I'm at home by 5 or so. Maybe it's 5:30. I don't take there are no like when I walk through the door, there's really no more phone calls. I mean, that's just it might. And generally speaking, I've always said I really don't take calls after 6 o'clock. It's kind of hard when it doesn't get dark till 8:30 or 9 o'clock here, but
right.
Because people can still be out showing or looking at properties. But generally speaking, like, when I walk through that door, I've kind of made that commitment to my wife. Like, she was like, just be done with the calls. Like, you've been working all day. So I've always kind of said, when I walk through the door, my kids are so excited to see me because they haven't seen me all day. So I'm done. Like, that's when I'm done.
Okay.
So
yeah, no,
it's usually 5 or 5:30.
I'll tell you. So I get up about the same time as you, but I'm done at 4. Like I'm done. Like 4 o'clock. I'm listening podcasts. I'm listening to Audible books. I'm done. And the reason why and I'll tell you why I do it, because there were 7 years where I was working 7 days a week from 4 in the morning till 8 at night until I literally just passed out from being tired. And you know what? And that was when my kids were young. And I think look. They live a great life because I did that, but I probably didn't do the right thing for them, right? I didn't spend enough time. I didn't go to the zoo with them. I didn't go to the beach with them. I'm sorry, kids, I'm working. I remember one time. Now I'm telling you a story. But I remember one time we rented. We today have a house in the mountains where at the ski resort. We didn't before, and we rented this house. And I had a client, or literally packing up. I'm about to get in my car to go to this house that we're going to rent. A client calls me with a freaking emergency, and I looked over at my wife and I said, "Dude, I can't go. We can't go." And she threw a fit, and I said, "Okay, fine." I solved it, but again, I'm done at 4 o'clock. Now, and I'm telling you that story because
client emergencies are actually never client emergencies, by the way.
Right.
Never.
Right.
They've created something in their head that it's an emergency. My thought is at 6 o'clock, the title company's not open, the lender's not answering, the bank's not going to do anything about it. Why should I feel obligated just because they want to talk to somebody?
Right. They want to vent.
And that might not be the right thing, but they just want to have somebody to talk to, and I get it. But there's nothing that can be done. So whatever happens. I mean, it's just, and there's always exceptions to the rule, but it's generally speaking, it's one of those situations where I feel like most emergencies in real estate are not as much of emergencies as they create in their mind.
Yeah, and this goes back to, I think, Josh, this goes back to abundance mindset, right? You as an agent can't get so emotionally involved or attached to that deal or that client that you run yourself ragged and you yell at your wife and you treat your kids poorly because somebody says they have an emergency that's really not, and whatever. So that's great. This is my last question on this, Josh. Do you tell people that you're working with those rules? Hey, I'm up at 4:42. Here's when you can call me, but after 5 o'clock, like I don't pick up the phone.
Yeah, I think if you don't set expectations in our business, people will call you till 10 o'clock at night, and when you start answering, it's not actually their fault; it's yours. And so I think it's one of those things. If you don't set the expectations, literally, clients don't know the difference. They'll let you work 24 hours a day. I mean, they literally will run you ragged in this business because it's not the individual. It's not the individual client that'll run you ragged. But if you have 10 or 12 of them at one time, they're all wanting something different. And they're all wanting your attention. They're all needing you to do something, which is why they hired you, which is great. But, for them, it might be convenient to call at 8 o'clock at night because that's what time they settle down. And, it's just one of those things like send me a text message and I'll look at it. And if I can do something about it, that evening via email or something like that, or if I can send an email to you, great. If you just want to talk about why we weren't able to close today or do something, I probably don't have an answer. I mean, and that's the hard part is it's kind of like the deal I had this morning. I mean, I don't have an answer for the guy, unfortunately. We don't know why the buyer decided not to close, and so there's a delay in the closing.
That's it, right? There you go. This is delay. I don't know. Hey,
and I told him that. I mean, after him calling me 4 or 5 times, I said, look, I don't have an answer. We can talk. I mean, and he wanted to ramble for 20 minutes about it, and then I said, look, man, let me get off the phone with you. I need the only way I'm going to find out is if I call the title company, the buyer's title company, and really kind of dig into this and find out from another agent what's going on. And he was like, okay.
Okay. Hey, so let me this. I want to talk to you because this topic very much ties into a branding issue. And it's you've done something that I tell people not to do, and I want to talk to you about it. So, your name is Josh Anderson. Your website is Josh Anderson Real Estate. The name of your firm, like I'm looking at your homepage right now, man. The Anderson Group, like you're the guy. And when people have a problem, they want to talk to the man. If you could do it all over again, do you think you would take your name sort of out of the branding that is so front and center on your company and website?
Yes and no. I mean, I always tell new agents, like, if you can brand it and brand it well, but more generically, I would say yes. I didn't probably think through that, and most people don't. I don't really have a problem with the Anderson Group Real Estate Services just because, and Anderson's not exactly a unique last name, and I think that it's kind of like Keller Williams. I mean, it's two guys' last names,
right?
And so he's built a pretty big company off of his last name. But I mean, I guess my point with that is, at this point, I'm too far to change it, I feel like. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could always change it, but I think that it would take a lot of time, energy, and money to change it. And I think the Anderson Group Real Estate Services is a well-known brand in Middle Tennessee from a real estate perspective. And so I wouldn't change it, and I don't know that it matters at this point, but I would take everything Josh Anderson out of it.
Right.
Because sometimes people go, oh, it's the Josh Anderson Group, and I'm quick to say, no. Josh Anderson's a member of the Anderson Group Real Estate Services. That's not. So I want people to understand that the Anderson Group Real Estate Services is a collaboration of, I mean, it's a team of agents working for you. It's not Josh Anderson having his name on it. But generally speaking, yes, I would agree with you. If I was a new agent, I would probably have done, Nashville something or something to do with real estate that I could go and rebrand in other cities.
Right. Perfect.
Or other markets.
Yep. And right. And I want to agree with you. And so, like, everybody listening, that's super important. So write that down, and you can notate it to Josh or me. All right. Hey, man, we got to start wrapping up. I always ask for a book recommendation. You as a millennial, you probably don't read, but here's a setup, Josh. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
I mean, I think it depends on what somebody is looking for. I mean, I've read so many books. Gary makes us read books in his top 100 mastermind. There's a lot of books I've started and been so dry I couldn't finish. To answer your question, like right now I'm reading Mastering Communication at Work because I think for me, and I'm also working on 7 Powers of Questions. And I've got several other books I've bought that I'm like, they're in my list. Like there's one about Google and how they hire people, and it's pretty cool stuff. But I mean, you can only read so many books a year. But my point is, for me, Mastering Communication at Work, my business coach wanted me to read that because I think most realtors get into the business to be a real estate agent and have relationships with their clients and friends and referral sources. None of us start out as an individual agent thinking we're going to grow a big operation and have, we're going to be managers and leaders and, therapists and, all kinds of stuff. And so I think knowing how to communicate with all the different styles of people, whether it's people inside your organization or clients, I think that's huge. And I think the power of asking questions rather than telling somebody to do stuff and getting them to buy into what you're wanting them to do rather than, it's huge. And so, those are all things that I think everybody can constantly be working on. Those aren't the sexy, fun books that are, the one things or all the business models or the sales stuff or those are more just kind of good communication and leadership books in general.
Right. No, I love it. And I think, I'll tell you, I think those two things, the two things that I work on, and if you spent some time around me, and you could probably hear it in this thing, right? I do two things. I ask questions and I try to tell stories. I try to communicate in stories because that's how people, that's how, through time, man, people sat around the campfire sharing wisdom through a story. So, hey, listen, everybody, if you want to read what Josh is reading, Mastering Communication at Work, How to Lead, Manage, and Influence by Ethan F. Becker, you can get a free copy on us. Just go to audibletrial.com/superagentslive and sign up, and they'll give you a free book. I think they might give you two. So, Josh, you're in Gary's, private, but I want to ask you about your coach. I'm not going to ask you who it is. Tell us really quickly why a guy like you has a coach, number one, and I have another follow-up. So why does somebody like you have a coach? I mean, dude, you're killing it. You're 37, right? You got it all together.
Sure.
Why do you need a coach?
I think, I'm not near the, why do all the pro athletes that are making $100 million, on their contracts, why do they have, 10 coaches? I mean, you constantly, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you always need somebody to look at things that you're doing from a different person's perspective or from a different perspective. For me, my coach does he's big on systems and processes and tools and P&L statements and things that most agents don't want to slow down enough and do, and me being one of them. And so I know that he does a good job for me having to make me do homework and assignments to do those things and become a better business person rather than just saying, hey, you know what you need to do? You need to lead generate more. I mean, lead generation is the foundation of my business, but I've never had I've never needed anybody to tell me to lead generate more. I've always done a good job of that. I've always needed somebody to tell me, slow down and look at your business. And it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. So let's look at that P&L statement and see what we can do to net you more money.
No. And so in terms of netting more money, I don't know if you can, what's the one thing that, that you feel like you're getting the best, ROI? Okay. And this is going to be a two-part question. What is the one thing that you're doing that you are getting the best return on investment, right? You put $1 in, you're getting $5 back. And Josh, the second piece of this question is, what is the one thing you're doing that you're getting the biggest ROTI, the biggest return on your time invested?
Yeah. I think, to be honest, probably both of them are probably the same. And it's our client database. I mean, it's clients
absolutely.
And referral sources. I mean, we really don't have to spend near as much money because we've already proven to them what we are and what we do. And so they're mostly the people that we want to spend more time with. So the time we get with them is more valuable. And the dollars we invest in them have been better than anything else we've done. And that's not to say, I mean, I get $3 or $4 for every dollar I spend on radio. I mean, I get good return on investment on radio. I love it. And everybody listening should call you for radio if that's something that they're looking into. But, for us, if I had to just pick hands down, it's always been our database.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I tell people all the time, man, your database is the most valuable spoke in your business, and it's amazing.
It's crazy. Most agents don't want to call it because they're scared to death to call their past clients or friends and ask for business. And it's like, and I know it's hard sometimes, but if you have to do face-to-face rather than picking up the phone and calling, do it.
Right.
I mean, it's where the business is.
Well, and 100%. But I think, Josh, if they took a piece out of your playbook and led with value, right? I'm going to lead with some. I'm going to just give. The business will come. Don't worry about being, if it's next month or next week. It could be next year. You said it could be 3 years from now. Sure. If you lead with value, like everybody should be okay with that. So I love it. All right, man. Here's a crazy question, and then we're going to wrap up. So, what's something? And we've covered a lot in this. How long we've been recording? 54 minutes. I appreciate you taking time your day. But so, what's something I should have asked you, but I didn't ask you about?
I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we did.
we covered people, and I think that's probably the most important or the biggest thing that I've realized that. To be honest, not to go back to Gary Keller and his top 100, but that's the one thing that he continues to harp on us about is, find good people, find great, exceptional people, and get into business with them. Even if you don't think you can afford them, figure it out because, he's hired 3 people ever. And he's hired those people that have also hired other people. But my point is that he's built a pretty big organization off of just hiring a handful of people that have gone out and then seen his vision and gone out and hired more people for those things. Right. So it's really just getting into business with the right people and working with the right clients too, but constantly looking for talented people to surround yourself with. Just kind of, you look at that, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Right. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've really started being more intentional and purposeful about is who can I surround myself with in my daily life? I spend a third of my life working, a third of my life sleeping, and a third of my life doing whatever else I want to do. And so when you look at your life and broken out in 3 pieces, like you really got to work with really great people.
Absolutely.
And have fun with them.
Yeah, 100%. And real quick, Josh, finish that quote for those people who haven't heard that, the 5 people. Tell everybody that quote.
Yeah, so the 5 people, basically you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So if you spend your time with 4 other people that are negative and have a bad attitude and don't have good energy, you're going to be the 5th person that's got bad energy and a bad attitude and probably aren't going to be, wealthy at the end of the day. If you hang out with 5 millionaires or 4 other millionaires, you're going to be a millionaire. I mean, the odds are just, they're probably not going to hang out with you if you aren't. So, birds of a feather.
Yep.
Flock together.
100% agree. And listen, everybody listening, you're in good company, right? You're spending time with me and Josh. So
that's right.
Hey, buddy, look, for everybody out there, Josh is looking for excellent people. He's looking for a director of sales. I'm sure he's always on the lookout for talent. So, Josh, where can people find more about you? Yeah.
If you want to, you can either find me on Facebook. You can facebook.com/Nashville's Realtor or Nashville, Tennessee Real Estate, or you can email me, josh@joshandersonrealestate.com.
Awesome. Hey, buddy. Well, I'll be the first to kick off the thank you train. Again, I know you're busy. We're recording in July. This is the peak of when you're busy. So I appreciate you taking the time out and sharing with me and my audience.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, buddy. Let's keep in touch.
All right. Have a great day.
See ya. This show is produced by me, Toby Salgado, with help from our research team and production done by Viralcast. If you're building a team and want to make sure you're doing it the most efficient way, reach out to Corcoran Coaching. They coach 83 of the nation's top producing teams. And for our listeners, they'll give you a free business evaluation. Send an email to bubba@corcorancoaching.com and let them know I told you guys to call.
Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, yo. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15%